Well, hello. I had some extra time and I thought I would come live just to see whether I could be of any help. I see that my webcam is really, really, really dark. That's interesting. I do have a lot of light here. Oh, this is better. I think this is better. So I have about 45 minutes, and if anybody is on here, I am just here to answer questions, any questions you have on healing the fearful avoidant attachment style, um, and what comes with it, the journey, the challenges, the kinds of therapy that might help. Um, so for 45 minutes, I'm here. I'm at your service. It's so weird that it's so dark, isn't it? I don't know why it is. But if you're here, if you're seeing this, then oops. Please let me know in the chat. Ask me your questions. I'm here now. I'm here for you. Maybe I should do this on my phone because the webcam is so dark. So weird, right? It adjusts. It adjusts. If you're here, just say hi in the chat. Let me know that you're here, and ask me your questions. If there's no questions, I'm just gonna talk, and I'm gonna share something that I think might be valuable for you to help you heal the fearful avoidant attachment style. The thing I've been working on the past few days is resistance to getting to where you actually want to get to. And that sometimes it doesn't feel like it makes sense because if you want to get anywhere, wherever it is, you want to just feel better, you want to have a loving and stable relationship, that can it can be that you kind of assume that that's what you want and there will be no resistance to it. And yet sometimes you've healed the trauma, you've healed so much, but you still have resistance to it because it's just new. It's a new identity almost. Hello, greetings from Prague. Oh, that's amazing. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm in Amsterdam. I don't know if you know that, but that's not too far. If you have any questions, just throw them in the chat. I'm here for 45 minutes. I'm at your service and can answer anything you want to know. You can also ask a very general question, just, whatever you feel comfortable with. But the resistance, there is a way to clear resistance, to release resistance. And this is what I really love about the tool that I use, that I talk about all the time. I mean, if you follow my channel, that's just you must have heard about it. It's EFT, the emotional freedom technique. And I love this tool because it can be used in so many different ways. Whereas there is, thank goodness, more and more tools in general to heal trauma, to clear trauma. EFT is just a very versatile tool, and resistance is something that you will come across when you're healing this attachment style. And I don't really know of any other tools that can address and clear resistance the way EFT can. So you can actually just address the resistance directly, if that makes sense. Hey, Asa, we're business. Those YouTube handles, right? Hi, I'm so happy you're here. Welcome, welcome to this live stream. I'm not sure how this works, by the way. Do you get a notification that I went live? Do you follow? Are you a subscriber? I don't know how this works. Please let me know. Hey, Chantal, hello. So good to see you here. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We were talking about resistance. I'm just going to keep talking until there are questions, because I just want this live stream to be valuable no matter what. Um, oh, you are a subscriber and you saw it on your feed as I opened YouTube. Oh, that's cool. That's really cool. Yeah. So ask me any questions, because with any questions, I can just dive into that and um, actually help you. That's why I'm here. um, so I just wanted you to know, at least, that when you run into a resistance to healing, but also uh, to allowing yourself to have the things that you want, and generally when you don't have what you want, there is resistance involved. There is some sort of resistance that is going on, and so knowing how to clear resistance is always valuable. Um, and that I don't know a lot of ways to do that other than EFT. I'm just thinking, I am open to doing a tap with you guys, but that might be a bit too fast too soon here. So what else kind of questions could I answer? Um, when it comes to resistance, I'm just gonna keep going on resistance. Oh, hey Jelly RCW12. Thank you for changing my life. That's so kind of you to say. Do you want to tell me a little bit about how you are now, how you were? I'm here for you. I just want to hear from you. And meanwhile, I'll keep talking about resistance, and if you don't want that, then ask me a question. Um, because this was something that took me a long time to figure out, really, in my healing journey, that there was resistance to actually um feeling good, for instance, feeling happy, feeling relaxed. So much resistance to that, because I felt like it was wrong, it wasn't allowed, it would be unsafe, I would miss things if I would relax too much. And there was just there was resistance to the good things, there was resistance to healing, and resistance is kind of like the handbrake, right? It's a handbrake that your fear brain uses when it's not quite sure what is going to happen and whether it's going to be okay. It just pulls on the handbrake, and that makes healing so much harder. So when you clear resistance, it becomes so much easier to heal. SKWERL81. Hi, I'm newer to your channel. Do you have any content or thoughts on fear of vulnerability? How to overcome? That is such a good question. I have videos on vulnerability. I don't think I can search for that right now. Maybe I can, because then I can just give it to you. Oh no, I don't think I can. But just type in vulnerability on my channel, and I have videos on that. Did you guys know that I have 274 videos right now? It's a lot. I just recently saw that. So there's content on a lot of things. But just to get into that, if you have specific questions on that, please let me know. But the fear of vulnerability is such a core thing to the fearful avoidant attachment style, and it is what drives a lot of the push and pull behavior and the almost erratic behavior, if you will, so the non-logical behavior. Feeling vulnerable is actually a trigger for you if you're a fearful avoidant, because the moment you feel vulnerable, a lot of negative associations come up from when you were younger. um, so vulnerability usually is seen as weak when you have a fearful avoidant parent, and so that parent will not really tolerate you being vulnerable, because it triggers them too. It triggers the parent as well, and they want you to not be weak, be strong, be have it together. um, and so what can happen is that when you feel vulnerable, your parent just gets dysregulated, really, and just lashes out or humiliates or mocks, because they don't feel comfortable with you being vulnerable. And then also, when you were vulnerable when you were younger and you opened up about something, you may have experienced that it was used against you later on, right away. And so that teaches you, obviously, to not be vulnerable. That just feels scary to be vulnerable. And so you kind of keep being vulnerable to yourself. It doesn't feel safe to be vulnerable. And I think apart from the fact that you can um, heal and release the negative associations you have around being vulnerable, you can absolutely, it's absolutely okay to also have the person you want to be vulnerable with to earn that. So the interesting thing is that in in relationships, sometimes it's harder to be vulnerable than to be vulnerable with a stranger. You may have experienced that you become really vulnerable the first time somebody you meet somebody, and you just almost tell them all your secrets, and then the next day you have the vulnerability hangover. And it's very intriguing that that happens the moment you meet somebody, and there's no stakes involved in a way. When somebody's a stranger, there's less pressure, less expectations, no stakes. And so it makes sense that you do that. um and there are many ways that you, or many reasons that uh you could do that, be vulnerable. It creates a bond, for instance. It's you're craving for more deeper conversations. But when you're in a relationship with somebody and you want to be vulnerable, but you're noticing that you have resistance to being vulnerable, it really is a matter of healing the negative associations you have around being vulnerable. And you can do that through tapping the EFT, the emotional freedom technique, by imagining you being vulnerable, either a memory that you have or just you imagining right now that you are vulnerable with your partner, and then allowing all of those feelings to come up and release them. Because really, in the end, and this is so intriguing, the thing that you're afraid of is a feeling, a reaction from your partner that makes you feel a certain way. And usually that feeling is an echo from the past. So it's not even really here. So it's yeah, it's, you can definitely overcome it by healing the negative associations around it. Okay. Yay. I'm loving that you're all here. Welcome, welcome. I'm sorry it's so dark. It's the webcam from my laptop. I forgot that it's so dark. Because I have all kinds of lights here, but it's still very, very dark. Okay, wait. Um Jelly says, "Well, I used to be super avoidant and choose people who were not emotionally available because I wasn't. But just knowing the term for what I was experiencing and you sharing your story of overcoming it helped me know that it was possible for me too. I didn't have to be stuck." I'm so happy to read that. Yeah, you definitely don't have to be stuck. It's so good. It really helps to just understand, doesn't it? To kind of give a name to it, not necessarily a label, but just kind of be able to give a name or words to what is happening. Noemi says, "My husband is a fearful avoidant. We've been married 20 years and we just learned about fearful avoidance a year ago. No matter what I do to make him feel secure, he still reverts to pulling when things are good." Yeah, that's hard, isn't it? I do want to be clear on this live and also on the channel. I really do. I'm here for the fearful avoidant. I've tried to be there for partners too. Um, but I'm just noticing that that's not my natural place. My husband was the partner of me being the fearful avoidant. He's amazing. And I obviously we talked a lot, but it's I really am here for fearful avoidance themselves. Um, so I really appreciate you being here and understanding more, and please watch the videos to understand more. But the channel really is for fearful avoidance themselves. I just want to help you when you're struggling with it. Nika Stris 3978 says, "The paradoxical thing in my healing journey, I currently feel very strong, powerful, taking agency, trusting my gut, but along the way I feel I'm cutting people off? Is this just a phase? uh, well, what kind of people are you cutting off? Like, are they people really close to you? Are they the ones that had something to do with the trauma that you're experiencing or that you've experienced? Or is it a matter of you um, noticing that friendships just don't really fit anymore? Is it just a random cutting off people? Please answer, then we can dive into that a little bit more. Hey, Rosie. Hello, welcome. Um, as our business 368 says, I'm a fearful avoidant. I broke up a couple of times with my safe, kind partner because I felt it was too intense. Now he turned a bit cold and bitter about the relationship, and I'm afraid. Isn't that interesting? With a safe, kind partner, usually it's quite stable and calm, and still it was too intense. And I remember this. I don't know if this is your experience, but I remember that I had toxic relationships before I met Aryan, my now husband, and those were very emotionally intense, but in a way that felt more doable, manageable, and so in a way calmer, because it was just what I was so used to. It was, I always say, it's what my fear brain was trained for. My fear brain just felt more comfortable with that, and then when I got into a relationship with Aryan, who was very secure, uh, it was the most intense because all of a sudden it was all on me, and I had to look at myself and see the patterns and see the mechanisms and see what I was doing and my behavior, and it was just such a mirror, which can be really exhausting. So it sounds like a safe and secure relationship is the easier one and the toxic relationship isn't. But in a way, your fear brain kind of in a way thrives in a toxic relationship or in a more unhealthy dynamic, because that's what it knows, and familiarity um, almost equals safety for the fear brain. So it makes so much sense that a safe and kind partner can feel too intense. And now he turned a bit cold and bitter about the relationship. Have you taken steps to heal and to be able to feel more comfortable and feel more at ease and be able to relax into the relationship? Because when your partner can see that you are actually taking concrete steps, that can really help. Um, SKWERL 81. I just get into the mode where vulnerable words cannot come out of my mouth. I did see you mention this inability to speak in one video. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. I think I haven't talked about that a lot, but this was in the beginning of the relationship and definitely in the crash state of the fearful avoidant attachment style, where I just could not physically speak. It's not a figure of speech that I say that. I just could not speak. My body just kind of shut down, and I could not physically form words, which sounds crazy now. Crazy, not in a crazy way, but like I can't even imagine it now because it's so long ago. It feels like such a different lifetime. But what we had to do was come up with a sign, and I think it was like if I had my thumb in my hand and then my fingers over it, kind of like a fist, that would be the sign that, hey, I can't talk, but I'm here and I'm trying. Just because I could not form any words, and from from that place we kind of build up to where I could talk. And when I look back, I think it was such a trauma response to just shut everything down just to not say the wrong thing, um, because yeah, it felt vulnerable to speak because anything I could say could be used against me. That was what I was used to from when I was younger. Yeah. um Jelly says, I really relate to what you said about parents using it against us later. Definitely experience that. Yeah, and then it makes sense, right? That you don't want to be vulnerable. It makes so much sense. It feels scary to be vulnerable. What what you can experience as a fearful avoidant is that you feel like everybody um, makes a case against you. It almost feels like at any point you can have to appear in court and justify your actions, justify your behavior, justify who you are. And so you become very aware of what you share, how you share it, when you share it, um, because it can be used against you. You're very aware of that. Um, and that also leads to you almost making a case against the other. I remember in the beginning of my relationship, I would, and it wasn't a conscious thing, but I would kind of collect things that um, I felt justified in with Aryan, like the things that he did wrong that he could do better, so that I would have a list so that when it came down to it, and I didn't know what that was, but that was kind of this feeling of impending doom, that I would have a case against him, which is just not obviously a healthy, um, secure thing to do. I was very much in the crash state back then, but I thought it was normal because that's what I grew up in. I always felt like in any moment, I could be called upon, and then I would have to defend myself and justify um, what I did and who I was. And so constantly I was thinking about what I shared, how I shared it, the tone I shared it with, which is just so exhausting, isn't it? Oh, oh my God, I relate to everything you're saying. Yeah, it's such a universal experience, right? When you for when you're here, when you're watching this, the moment you realize that you may be fearful avoidant, or that you recognize yourself in the fearful avoidant attachment style, and maybe you watched my videos or other videos and you were like, oh my gosh, that's what I have been experiencing. What was that like? Let me know. I'm curious. Your fear brain to me is emotional flashbacks. Well, the fear brain is what kind of uses emotional flashbacks to keep you safe. It's just the fear brain is the psychological system behind fear. And so it uses a lot of mechanisms and tactics just to keep you safe. And when you have an emotional flashback, what happens is you get triggered, and um, all of a sudden, all those feelings from when the trigger was installed come rushing back in. And your fear brain will say, "Oh wait, we've been here before. This is dangerous. Please do anything, fight, fly, freeze, or do any of the mechanisms to protect yourself." So yeah, emotional flashbacks can really trigger the fear brain and um, make you feel unsafe in a way. How much time does it take to heal shame? Oof, shame is such a good question, such a good topic, because it's one of the deepest and hardest to feel feelings, emotions for a human, because uh, it's so scary for us to feel shame, because shame means that you are so different from the others that you will never belong. And for us being mammals and being depending on others for survival, and that used to be our parents, but we grew up in tribes, and when we still lived in tribes, so we have that wired in us. We are wired for connection, and shame negates all of that. So shame tells you that you're not worthy, that you won't belong. So how much time does it take to heal shame? That really depends on what the associations are that you have around shame. When you are okay feeling shame, it can go really fast. Um, but when there's a lot of emotional charge around even feeling shame, then it might take longer. And with emotional charge, I mean that you could experience that when you feel shame, there's a lot of added emotions and feelings that that you shouldn't feel this way, that it's really bad to feel this way. And that just makes it bigger and uh, more scary. Yeah. Please make a video on chronic freeze. Okay, noted, noted. Um, Cutting off can be healthy with boundaries. It can be, yeah. After boundaries don't work again and again, and the relationship really is damaging, it can be, yeah. Some people just won't won't accept your boundaries. Yeah. Do you do these live sessions often? No, I think I've done one live Q&A in total in the past 5 years. I've had this YouTube channel, but I just felt like it today, so who knows. Dear Pauline, thank you for you and for the content that you make. On that's so kind. It has been a big help to our relationship. I would like to ask if you see if many fearful avoidants also have BPD or BPD traits. Well, that's a big discussion that I mean, I get this question more often, and I'm just not sure. BPD, borderline personality disorder, is quite a hefty label or diagnosis to get. Um, and the main thing I could say about it is it's not that when you're a fearful avoidant, you also have BPD, and it's not that when you have BPD, you absolutely always have the fearful avoidant attachment style. The fearful avoidant attachment style can develop in so many ways, and it can be more subtle, it can be more severe, but it's not um, a causal relationship. There might be a link, um, but yeah, BPD sounds like such a lifetime diagnosis, and I always am careful with that, because I know OCD is a lifetime diagnosis too, and yet I don't have that anymore, and I used to have it very much so. Relationship OCD, HOCD, POCD, moral OCD, scrupulosity OCD, all the thought forms of OCD. And I just don't have that anymore. After a lot of healing, I'm not saying it's easy, but um, I heard multiple times that OCD cannot be cured. You cannot heal from OCD, and that is just plainly not true. So, yeah, that's a good question, but a hard answer. Oh, well, many questions. Wait, wait, wait. Rosie says, Pauline, because of you, I pushed through all of my doubts and married my husband, even though at first I wanted to push away. Now we are secure. Oh, that is amazing. I find the fearful avoidance affecting me in other ways. My energy, health. Yes, it can absolutely, absolutely impact all areas of your life, really. As in committing to work or trying to stay healthy, the overwhelming feelings make me not feel secure in my own life. Well, um, okay, so that means this is so interesting. That means that being healthy probably has negative associations for you. And then just imagine that being healthy for your fear brain means that you will feel powerful, because when you're healthy, you have energy, you can do more. But what if that to your fear brain means you will have to do more? You have no excuse not to be perfect in a way, like work really hard, prove yourself, perform. You always have to be on, you always have to help others. There were so many things when I started really tuning into actually being healthy, because I struggled with my health a lot too, um, that I realized, oh wow, it feels wildly unsafe for me to feel healthy, because it felt like then I would have to just give all of my time and energy away to anybody and everybody that wanted it. I would not have any boundaries. I would not have any reason to not do that and to just be to myself. Um, I had always learned that boundaries were something that you didn't set, and that you had to be at the service of the people you love 24/7. So not being healthy, and for me that was chronic fatigue. One of the things was chronic fatigue. Um, was a way of my body saying, this is my boundary, I need to rest, because I wasn't able to put it into words and actually put up a boundary. So when you're struggling with attaining something, that this is what I started this live Q&A with. When you want to get healthy and you're working really hard at it and you're noticing that it's just not working, or it feels overwhelming, that is a very clear sign that there is a lot of resistance to it. And it is so valuable to look at that resistance and release the resistance. And when you feel safe in being healthy, when you feel powerful with being, or when you feel safe with being powerful, and all the things that, according to your fear brain, come with being healthy, then all of a sudden it becomes really easy to be healthy. When I worked on this, and I had chronic fatigue for a long time, for years. I think it started when I was in my teens, and it continued well into my 20s, close to my 30s probably. Um, and I tried to work at it for so long. I tried to go to the gym. I tried to eat healthy. I tried to do all of the things purely on willpower, and it was not working. I was struggling so much with it, just to get more energy. And I would try to sleep and optimize my sleep schedule, and I would just do so much. And and then I really worked on this, on feeling safe with feeling healthy. And that meant having to put up boundaries. And that was not easy, but I learned all of that. And within a few months, all of a sudden, I found something that really helped me. I found supplements that really helped me. And all the years prior that I had worked on that so hard, and I had really looked for also for supplements, I couldn't find it. And so our subconscious, our fear brain is just so strong that when it feels unsafe to feel healthy, or to be whatever you want to be, you won't see opportunities. You won't see um, what is possible. It's very interesting how that works. But yeah, we get so many stimuli every single second, so many bits of information from our environment, and we only let through a little bit of that, and that is the reticular activating system that does that. It's very interesting if you're interested in neurology. But that is almost like a bouncer, a bouncer at a club that kind of decides who gets in and who doesn't. The reticular activating system is that part of your brain that decides what information is going to be processed and what not. And that it decides that based on your beliefs. And if your belief is it is so much safer to be chronically fatigued, then it will not allow you to process solutions that you might see, but you don't recognize them as it being something for you because you don't really process it. So I think what happened was that as soon as it started feeling safe for me, I saw different options, I saw different solutions, different thoughts came to me. And so all of a sudden, the reality seems very different, which is amazing. Does that help, Rosie? Let me know. A squirrel. Okay. That's a good way to say it. Shutting down is freeze state. I go blank, freeze, and emotional flashbacks to the trauma. Yeah. Yep. That can absolutely happen. Jelly says it feels like a giant relief. I remember my mind being blown when you describe emotional flashbacks. I didn't realize I was going through that all the time. Yeah, it can be almost a state that you're in. Just a lot of the feelings that you have are actually um, just old feelings, echoes of the past in a way. A lot of my reactions and habits made a lot more sense, and I knew I had to confront it to heal and have a healthy life. That's so good. That's so good. Oh, wait. Sometimes it jumps. That was one of the biggest takeaways I got from when I first watched your videos years ago. That's so good. Um, I'm happy you found them and it helped. Jennifer says, I always thought I was anxious preoccupied until I found out your stuff. Totally, I'm fearful avoidant, and it feels very serious and like the world is upside down from what I thought, but sense of calm and peace for hope now. That is so good because I can totally understand that it's not easy to learn that you have the fearful avoidant attachment style, and yet it helps so much um, to accurately know what attachment style you may be. And nothing is ever black and white, right? We're always a certain percentage of everything. We all have a certain percentage of secure in us too. It's not black and white. But when you are convinced you're fully anxious, preoccupied, or dismissive avoidant, and you are actually fearful avoidant, that just makes everything different. Um, so, yeah, it's when you know what really is going on, then you can heal accordingly. So that's good. To realize that I have Marty Nemiokarek 90. To realize that I have this attachment style was overwhelming, but also amazing. To finally feel like I'm not the only one in the world. Absolutely not. That in a way, it's normal. It's just a result of my past. Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, yeah. It's it's so interesting, right? How universal this is because this is true. I didn't know when I started this channel 5 years ago. I just wanted to help, and I thought if I can help one person, that would be amazing. And soon I realized that everybody from, or that people from all over the world were watching the videos, and I never even really thought about how culture would influence, how, language, just living in such different worlds, would influence the fearful avoidant attachment style. All of this was kind of like a big experiment. But it turns out that it is so universal, and we experience the same thoughts pretty much literally word for word, but in different languages, um, all over the world. And in a way, I hope that also gives you hope. And I don't know, in a way, it kind of touches me that, the brain is so universal. And so that also means that if others can heal, you can heal too. And you're never alone and you're never weird. It's just a very logical consequence of what you've gone through when you were younger. Mm, my fearful avoidance started when I was 12 because of my father. Is that normal? Yeah, they can be normal. Absolutely. It usually starts earlier unless there was like a very big life event that happened when you were 12. Um, but yeah, that can absolutely happen. Corey, hey Corey. Boundaries is the number one wound that feels like an uphill battle that will never be climbed. Really? And what are the associations with that? Like, you don't have to answer me here. Obviously, it's just, um, only if you feel comfortable. But when boundaries feel like an uphill battle that will never be climbed, that just to me means that there is a lot of negative associations around that, a lot of fears about what it would do and what it would mean when you would put up boundaries. I remember when I was at the cusp of starting to do that, I was terrified because it was just not done in my family to put up boundaries. And so when I started doing this, I immediately could feel and imagine my dad saying the things that he would always say to dismiss the boundaries, like, don't make this such a big deal. And do we have to weigh our words always? And it was all in Dutch, so I'm not sure if I'm translating correctly, but all of these, like, um, very cliche things that he kept saying again and again, they would just shut my whole body down, even just imagining him saying it. So me imagining putting up a boundary and then imagining him saying it. And I used that. I used visualization. I used um those memories to imagine me standing up to him and him saying those things. And then actually when um this was all around when my daughter was born, when I was pregnant, I found out I was a fearful avoidant, which was just very unnerving to say the least. And then when my daughter was born, the first few weeks or months, I didn't see my parents a lot because I was just struggling so much with the reality and the realization that I was not securely attached, and that actually a lot of the things that they were doing were not healthy and it wasn't my fault. And so when they came and I thought, this is the weekend, I am absolutely going to put up boundaries because I just needed to do so. I wrote down on little index cards the things that he always said to dismiss my boundaries and the reaction that I would have. And of course, you have to feel somewhat safe enough to do this. When it's an actual like physical danger, you have to find another way. But I just tucked them in the side of the couch just to be able to have them, even if it was just to show him that the things that he said were so predictable, that I could write them on cards and then have a reaction to it. And that just gave me strength. It may seem silly, but it just gave me so much strength to know that those index cards were there. And in the end, I never had to use them because as soon as I started putting up boundaries and I felt strong in them, he kind of just accepted them. He was mad for the first two or three, but I had healed up to the point where I could allow him to just be mad without making it mean anything about me. Um, so yeah, it was a journey for sure, but healing those negative associations and the fears around putting up boundaries was so necessary. And now boundaries are, gosh, it's like ordering food, it's just so easy and so simple. So something that can feel like an extremely big thing right now, it used to give me absolute full-blown panic attacks where I felt like I couldn't breathe. And now it's just, yeah, just another Tuesday. That's, yeah, you can absolutely get there when you release the negative associations and the emotional charge that you have around things like boundaries. The truth within. Hi. Oh my god, hi. I didn't know this was happening and just happened to check the channel. I feel like I'm joining very late. You're not very late. I don't know. Oh, wow. Time does fly. I said I have 45 minutes. I have to go at 5, which is in 5 minutes. You can watch all of that back. This wasn't planned at all. I just had some time, some spare time, and I thought I would come on and see how I could help. But I'm so happy you're here. What are thought form OCD? Is that like ruminating? You have um, OCD forms that are more physical in nature, which is the very cliche OCD form where you switch on and off the light switch 20 times just to make absolutely sure that they're off. This is what is depicted in movies a lot, or was depicted in movies a lot in the 90s and 2000s as OCD. But there are also thought forms, and that means that the the OCD is purely in your head. So the compulsions, the intrusive thoughts are in your head, the compulsions are in your head, everything is in your head, and it's not a physical act that you do to find relief from the compulsion. It's thinking. And so for relationship OCD, for instance, you check your feelings constantly. Do I feel enough? Do I love them enough? um, and then you check whether you do, and then when you do, you have relief, and before you know it, you have an intrusive thought or a trigger and you're back in that loop. But the thought forms, um, are there's several subtypes of the thought form OCD. Pure O is what they also call it. So relationship OCD, HOCD, which is homosexuality OCD, and POCD, which is pedophilia OCD. Those usually go together, interestingly enough, because it has to do with feelings for other people. So that's like a trifecta. But you also have harm OCD, which is also very coexists a lot with the other ones. Um, Morality OCD, scrupulosity OCD, um, and fearful avoidant attachment style has a higher chance of developing OCD forms. And I had OCD and I had no idea that it was that. I just thought it was my brain. I thought it was normal. I thought most people had this. And that is, I think, the hard thing with pure O, so the thought form OCD, that you don't see anybody else having it. You don't see anybody else, scrubbing the floor 20 times a day. That is visible. And so somebody else can say, "Hey, why do you do that?" That, other people don't do that. It's easier to kind of see that other people don't do that. But what's going on in your head is not something that you can see with others. So I hope that answers the question. Uh, as for business, did you used to be a good communicator in a relationship, or is it something that you developed with your husband while you were healing the fearful avoidant dynamic? If yes, how? Such a good question. I thought I was, and I wasn't. I thought it was very important to always be honest, never, ever, ever sweep anything under the rug. But that was also just me being very harsh and um, nitpicking things that are just not relevant. So I thought I was a good communicator in the sense that I would communicate everything, but there were a lot of unhealthy traits to that, aspects to that. So I really had to learn healthy communication. And that was part healing the fears that I had around what would happen if I would just I was, for instance, I had such a hard time um taking responsibility for mistakes I made, because I was so scared that if I would, it would be used against me. They would have, um, how do you say that? They would use it to build a case against me. And so it was just not an option to take responsibility. So what I did was kind of counterattack. And I wasn't really aware of this at that time. But when I started healing, I was aware of this and I really trained it and I really healed what I was scared of. So I healed that I was afraid that he would use it against me, because he wouldn't, and he never did. Um and I just had to learn uh how to be a healthy communicator. Yeah. Oops. My therapist always tells me, Patrick says this, my therapist always tells me I have to make correcting experiences to close my wounds. Would you agree with that, or do you think it is also possible to heal alone without a partner, for example? It is absolutely possible to heal alone without a partner. This is such a myth, a misunderstanding that is, that can be frustrating, because what if you're alone and you want to heal, And somebody then saying, well, you need a secure partner to heal. You need secure experience. It's the only way you heal. It's not the only way to heal. I actually just recorded a video on 5 different ways that you can heal the fearful avoidant attachment style. And having secure experiences is one way, and it probably won't even heal all of the trauma. You need more. There's a cognitive layer, which means talk therapy, having insights into the fearful avoidant attachment style. There's a emotional processing layer, which is very important, that you need that whether you have a secure partner or not. But that's EMDR, EFT, for instance. You have a nervous system layer. So that means being able to calm your body down. Then you have the relationship, like the secure example, which is important, but it's definitely not the only one. And you don't uh, need it to heal. You can do so much without that. And then there's the fear brain layer, which usually misses, but that's the psychological system to fear, which is also very important to heal. So I respectfully disagree with your therapist. I am all for therapy. Don't get me wrong, um, but this definitely is a myth that I see a lot. I Yeah, you can heal so much just with the power of visualization and imagination, and then an emotional processing tool. I already have to go, but I want to answer a few more questions. um I'm thawing from freeze, but I'm scared of telling my wife. What if I fail? What if it sets standards I can't meet? What if it takes too long? What if she doesn't like who I become? Oh, yeah. Yep, those are the fears that come with it. Do you feel safe enough with her to actually also share these fears? So not only share that you're thawing from freeze, but also share that I'm scared to tell you this because what if that sets expectations or standards I can't keep up? What if I fail? What if it takes too long? If you're able to talk to your wife about that, that would help so much. Then she would understand so much more. Rosie says 100% chronic fatigue because rest is so important to me. I feel as if my body is keeping me tired so that I'm able to have that rest for myself. This is good insight. Would love a more in depth video on this topic if you're up to it. I am up to it. Don't I have a video on chronic fatigue already? I'm just thinking. Um, if not, I will definitely do that. I'll write it down. If you guys have more topics for videos, let me know. Because I have to wrap this up. So I'm just gonna see if I can answer a few more questions, and otherwise, um, I'm gonna write some down to make a video on. Okay. I just got a Garmin that tracks stress. Pre-healing, it always read high stress and low body battery, 5 of 100. Since healing, it has gone down to low level stress and healthy body battery. I'm so happy for you. What has helped the most for you? That is so good. Rosie asks, "Will this live be posted to YouTube after?" Yes, 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 yes. It will. At least I think so. This is the first time in a long time that I've done a live, but I think it automatically posts. Corey says I only have 2 gears when it. Ooh, shit. I only have 2 gears when it comes to boundaries. Let it happen or explode through resentment. Yeah, there are more gears, and these are the gears you have when fear is just overwhelming. So there's just healing to be done specifically around this. Jelly says it is universal. We're all people. Absolutely. And peace is possible for all of us. It is. It is. It is. It is. Rosie says, yes, absolutely. Honestly, learning about all of this has made me realize how amazing our brains are for trying to protect us. Yep. 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 All right. Darlings, I'm going to wrap this up. I really appreciate you. I've really enjoyed this. Um, so maybe we'll do this more often. This was a very spontaneous, impromptu live, but I just wanted to be here. So I hope this was valuable for you. I hope this was valuable, and you got something out of it. And I I love helping you. So thank you for being here. And maybe I will see you in the next one. Bye.